Hello, I'm Joe Barks. Welcome to another episode of The Road Ahead, brought to you by Club Resort Business, Club Resort Chef, and the Club Resort Chef Association. Today's episode is sponsored by Bush's Best Beans. Bush's Best Beans love unlimited possibilities and inspiring your menu with a variety of ideas and options. As an ingredient, Bush's Beans can work their way seamlessly through the kitchen, across cuisines, and across day parts. From flavorful add-ins to creative culinary explorations, Bush's Best Beans can be creamy smoothies, delicious dips, savory breakfasts, and surprising desserts. Whether it's working on menus, working with budgets, or working to be better, see how Bush's Beans work beautifully. Find inspiring recipes they'll love at bushbeansfoodservice.com. The Metropolitan Club of the City of Washington, D.C. has a history dating to the Civil War and has occupied its iconic clubhouse, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and located in the heart of the nation's capital, just blocks from the White House, for nearly 125 years. While the Metropolitan Club has long been known for having one of the industry's most exemplary and creative food and beverage programs, the recent growth in popularity of outdoor service options presented it with a new challenge. But undaunted by the confines presented by its building and downtown location, the club's leadership set out to plan a major renovation that led to the opening earlier this year of a spectacular new rooftop venue. With us today on the rooftop, with the Washington Monument in the background, to tell us more about this fascinating project are the Metropolitan Club's General Manager and Chief Operating Officer Michael Redmond and Assistant General Manager Emmett Gallagher. Gentlemen, thank you both for giving us a few minutes today.
Oh, absolutely, Joe.
Thank you.
Michael, maybe you could start by filling us in on the planning and execution of this impressive project. And what's the background of how and when it was first conceived, and what were the key steps that were needed to get it moving?
Right. So, this whole capital plan started back as far back as 2011. We had put in front of the board a rooftop venue concept, and it was rejected at that time. We shelved the project and we came back to it in 2015. In 2015, we started taking a look at how we could do an expansion to the roof in a building that was built in 1904 and what it would take to actually get it done from a cost perspective as well as an engineering study. So the board committed in 15 to move forward. We started engaging structural engineers. The process took us 4.5 years with the structural engineers, both in foundation work, underpinning the building. A building in 1904 had no intention of a 6th story put on. So one of the challenges here was we had to put 7 steel columns from the rooftop through the foundation of the building.
Wow.
We ended up spending about 10.4 on the actual project. We listed as 11 million because of the money spent in 11 on the study had to follow the project straight through. So it is an 11 all in. My CFO would say I was remiss without including that. But, it was a lot of money for an outdoor venue. You'll see there's no structure. We went through debates at the board level. Do we add a dining room? Do we add a restaurant? And what we came out of those discussions feeling very strongly that, it was time to have an open air venue. In 2007, they put a smoking ban on, as most of the country did, in DC, and it was thought to be a way to bring back cigar smoking to the club. There was a big contingency within the membership that wanted to see that return. And then a cocktail venue. So Mr. Gallagher here, Emmett, will talk about operationally how we run it, but it is in no way a restaurant venue. We have iconic dining rooms that have been a focus of social life here in Washington, D.C. since the 1908 era, and we didn't want to hurt that in any way, right?
Well, yeah. When you through all this process, did you look at how other city clubs or how clubs in general were approaching providing more rooftop or outdoor space for their members? And did you learn some do's and don'ts from all that research?
So we did. I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends around the country that had similar projects going on in different different stages, different levels. So I took a traveling group around the country to look at several of the other clubs that were similar in urban cities that were upscale city clubs. And the majority of them had built restaurants. And when you asked them, how the amenity was taking with the membership, they all agreed that the membership loved the new venue, but it did take away from the old venues within the club. So we through everything that they shared and taught us, the one main concept that came shining through again was the pie doesn't get any bigger, right? Within the membership. If we're not prepared to take an influx of membership in to make our base that much larger, creating new space can be dangerous. So we wanted to maintain our iconic dining room. The way the operation runs is this was planned to be and proved to be this year a stimulus for our indoor dining.
Well, when you finally got it ramped up and started to implement it, what were some of the other adjustments you had to make along the way because of the nature of your building or city regulations or the pandemic or any other challenges that you were running into?
Well, so we started construction in 19, and it was the fall of 19 when we started, right before the pandemic hit. And, we had to do a little soul searching in March of 2020 when we had to close. What do? Do we halt the construction or do we accelerate it? And I think we made the right decision. We accelerated the construction and we opened up this April 5th, right as the city was reopening. Certainly it makes the Board of Governors here at the club look like they're geniuses, right? That they had the inside scoop on this whole thing. But it really proved to be a way to have the older membership return to the club that weren't quite sure about being around people during COVID as early as April.
Sure.
And I can tell you, Emmett and his team did a masterful job of managing the reservation system for the roof. It was rare that the roof wasn't sold out all season long here.
Well, it does look beautiful. Emmett, what exactly do you serve up there now, and what are its hours of operations, and are you also using it for functions?
Yeah, so thank you, Joe. So our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 10 p.m. And that, we found shortly after we opened the rooftop that there weren't many people coming in to take advantage of libations, drinks on the rooftop for lunch hours. So the hours of operation then changed from service from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. But members and guests could still come up here and we would make arrangements to go above and beyond to get the drinks to them at the tables up here because, with the summer heat of Washington, D.C., we had to be mindful of that. And they're the things that we thought of, but we didn't really hone in on when we opened the roof in April. But so we do functions on the weekends, private functions, for members or a member-sponsored event. We have a rental fee involved with that. But it's more of, we've done a few now this past summer, weather permitted, a couple of weddings. But the backdrop behind us is just spectacular. And then from here, they would go downstairs to the main dining room or the Red Lounge for the wedding reception or the event itself.
How about servicing the venue? Has it presented any new special challenges for your staff and for your kitchens?
I think the biggest challenge we have is not having enough tables and chairs because it's been so popular. I talk with my peers in the country club, golf club world that I've met through the CMMA networking, and I've gotten great insight and help from them, and taking covers off and taking them back on and things like that. Or we were not used to that at the Metropolitan Club. It's something that we had to learn pretty quickly, and the team here just pulled it all together. We've divided up and delegated amongst different departments who takes off the covers, who puts on the covers, and so that was a learning curve for us all, and now we have it down to a science. So it's been great.
Are you planning to shut it down completely at some point for the winter? Or?
Yeah, this past week, we've kind of winterized the bar and all the glassware and stuff. We've taken it out. But again, the message we're communicating to the entire team for them to tell the members and guests is that the rooftop doors are open. People can certainly come up here and visit and view it because we're finding a lot of people who are returning to the club for the first time in a month or a year. They want to see the rooftop. They've heard all about it. They want to see it. So we're allowing them up here, but we're just not doing any service. However, again, just like the lunch hour, we go above and beyond. If somebody wants to get a drink from the 4th floor, the main dining room, or the bar on the 2nd floor, they can bring it up here and enjoy the view with a coat on.
Well, I know there's no dining up there, but your culinary staff has always been recognized as one of the most creative around. Have you come up with some new libations or some other new offerings?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, you know, through travels, I was fortunate enough to go to London in 2019 to help with running a trip of Winston Churchill. And I was at the Savoy Hotel and just having a drink by myself, and I saw their bar book, their drinks book, and it was based on piano music. And I was like, this is such a clever idea. So stole the idea, brought it back, and what we've done is put a history book of libations, and we've called the drinks different names of figure points. So right behind the camera is the old Riggs Bank. So we've called drinks, one drink called the Riggs, and the Five of Hearts, and the Rouge Noir, and just they all tie into a history of the club. And underneath the drink, it'll have a little description of why it's called the Five of Hearts. And so it's a way for new members to be able to learn history while they're sitting down and enjoying that libation.
Well, that's great. Well, it really looks fantastic, and I really commend you for your perseverance in getting it done. Now that it's a reality, what do each of you kind of see, and how, you've already said your membership has really responded well, but in the future, how extensively do you think it'll be used, and what's it going to add to the Metropolitan Club's image and appeal?
Well, I think, you know, moving forward, we have to keep an open mind, you know, and we've tried to do that since April 5th, opening it. But I think, you know, the members have to decide what it is they want up here. We're working currently, Emmett and his team, on, you know, a more regular music venue in the afternoons. Something as far as background music. That's a programming piece that we've never had to deal with at the club. You know, we still fight we combat. When I say there's no food up here, it's a question that happens here daily, right? Members are the best. Well, why can't I have a steak up here on the roof? Well, as you look at the roof, there aren't dining tables here. It's all lounge furniture. It's an iPay wood deck that, you know, would be a disaster serving food up here. And we purposely didn't put a kitchen in so that we didn't have to fight off the question as much. But it'll come up. Next year, will we have some type of appetizer that can be shared with a group at a table? I'm not ruling it out by any means, but we certainly want to be careful about doing that. And the board has really dug their heels in, to my delight, in the fact that they want people to dine in our dining outlets. I don't want to create trouble for you, but what about like the wood-fired pizza and things like that have become so popular, open air grilling? Yeah, well, you know, I think it would take a lot for us to get to that point, but I could certainly see charcuterie or a seafood tower, something that would pair well with our wine selection that we're so well known for, but we're just not there, you know, because quite frankly, it would bring in a lot of service challenges. You know, we're all challenged right now with staffing. We did it, what I think we did, or Emmett and his team did, was a superior job of servicing the member this summer. But it was all that we could handle to maintain the level of service they're accustomed to.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, going back to the iconic restaurant, we want members to experience that. And there's new members coming in, I wouldn't say all the time, but we want them to experience the whole clubhouse. We don't want them just stuck on one venue, and we want them to travel through the whole clubhouse. As well as that, like this past summer, we did a couple of club events up here where we had mariachi band, and we did a Mexican theme, and we served past hors d'oeuvres. So something like that will probably happen next season. And as we grow and learn in each season, we're going to see what we can do to not rule out food altogether, but give them little snippets of food throughout the summer season and fall. And the live music has been huge. You know, it's been well received, different variety of genres. I think it's a great venue that has a lot of potential over the coming years.
Well, it certainly does. We really appreciate you giving us a look at it today and sharing these insights about such an impressive project. And congratulations on getting it done. It's certainly added even more luster to the Metropolitan Club's long-held position as an industry leader. So we really appreciate you sharing some insights with us today. Thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely. We
Thank you,
appreciate the interest. Thanks.
Once again, this has been The Road Ahead, brought to you by Club Resort Business, Club Resort Chef, and the Club Resort Chef Association. And today's episode was sponsored by Bush's Best Beans. If you have a great idea or success story you'd like to see featured on a future edition of The Road Ahead, please contact us at editor@clubresortbusiness.com.